or integration?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I say that I assimilated to that culture. I mean, like when I was growing up with my brothers and that, we didn't really talk about footy, for instance. But as we grew up and I kind of hanged out with different kids, and for me, I kind of grew up with that we just play footy in the backyard, on the streets and stuff like that. But
I don't get footy. I mean,
I don't get footy either.
No, I don't get footy. So is that a woman thing or a cultural thing?
I have female friends that are into footy. But
footy
I'm not
in terms of rugby.
Yeah,
Rugby
they're really
league,
into
I
it.
don't watch a union at all, but I think it's just growing up when I was younger, and when you played and you kind of live and breathe it. When we were 5 or 6 and just going out on the street, and then we'll just do like 2-on-2 and just playing football. That's the kind of environment that I grew up in. When I say that kind of assimilation, it was it was so diverse when I was growing up that my best friend was a New Zealander, the other best friend was Aboriginal and Australian, and I actually I didn't have any Asian friends besides my family. I didn't have any Asian friends until I got to, I guess, high school, and for me it was almost the opposite. So I came from predominantly that kind of culture, then I went there and it was a very Asian culture, and I literally had to assimilate to like that Asian culture that when I was growing up in Fairfield. So it was a bit different for me, but I don't think anything's wrong with that.
Who is this us?
Well, I think
Like white society?
I think
Who is this us?
Yeah.
Like when you say Australian society and it's depicted in the form of media on Channel 7, which is predominantly a white channel,
Yeah.
because I don't to be brutally honest, there's a token like Islander news presenter, or there's a token Asian on Home and Away.
Yeah.
But who is this us? And when you're talking about assimilation, I feel like there is a negative connotation and there is a positive connotation. Like you said, positively, it means to be part of like a harmonious society and everyone's happy and it's diverse. But the negative aspect of that all is that I'm forfeiting my cultural heritage.
that's exactly right. You don't want to forget it.
Yeah, but
That's
it's
absolutely
hard
right.
because when you say us, you need to clarify that. Like, who is us? White society? Because believe it or not, it's always going to be this negative attachment to my assimilation to white society, because I'm going to forget and forfeit who I am in terms of the Asian culture.
Probably you and I probably share similar views in that it didn't have that kind of. Did you feel that you had to forfeit your cultural background when you assimilate?
I think for children it's a lot easier. I mean, you talked about playing footy with your mates. Like, that's what children do. They go out, they play games, and then that became a natural
Exactly. When you
a
moved
natural
into like
process for
secondary
you.
education,
But-
there's a loss of innocence.
That's right. Your parents weren't playing footy with your
No,
neighbours.
100%.
So,
Well, I wasn't playing footy.
Yeah, so-
I couldn't get like I said to this, I don't get footy.
but that's how it is. Like, you find something common between each other, like sport, or board games, or whatever it may be. That doesn't necessarily need a deep cultural mix.
It's all about finding infinity.
It's just So you find something that's in common, and you kind of exploit that to the greater good.
But I think it's harder when you become an adult.
that's right. And
It's
that's
so
exactly right,
hard
yeah.
when you're an adult.
and
To integrate and assimilate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
To find
pretty
that
much be
common ground.
ignorant to the fact that you're going to forfeit some part of yourself, because everything we do has an opportunity cost. There's always a cost. So, but as adults, we're more aware of it, and so we kind of fight it, and that contention there then becomes a sticky area where, do I want to be a part of this us, or do I want to preserve who I am?
When I first arrived here, I couldn't speak English, but I made the decision that I need to learn English in order to be integrated successfully. That was my own personal
That's the
decision.
same. Like, my choice to do extension 2 English
Yep.
was my way of showing that, all right, I'm down to be part of the Australian society.
Yep.
But I felt like even then, I'm always like viewed as an Asian. Like,
But I think also in saying that, some people just don't want to learn it.
Yeah,
I know,
there's nothing wrong.
and for me, it's like if you go into any country, regardless if it's Australia or whatever it is, it's that native language. You have to have at least an attempt, and especially assimilation, integration, whatever it is. You have to. If I go to, say Japan or something, and the culture is to bow as a hello, as a sign of respect. It's like, if you're going to be living there, at least try to, integrate into and kind of at least have that kind of common ground where you're at least attempting. I think here, a lot of immigrants that come over, they're just like, you know, I'm not going to speak the language. And there is people out there, but there is people who attempt but just can't learn the language.
Yeah.
And there's people who can and obviously like prosper from it. But I think at the end of the day, I think the point where he was making that, you know, should or should not, like, you know, if we're talking about immigrants speaking English, I think we should have an attempt to, and at least, you know, at least try.
I think